The last time the Jets were on the same ice surface as the Avs, it was in the handshake line after Colorado knocked them out in the opening round in 5 games in last year's playoffs. Since then, the Jets are 12-1, the best team in the entire NHL. They go head-to-head with the Avs tonight in Winnipeg. That's where we go right now to bring in John Liu. John, what's the most significant difference in this Jet team now compared to the one that was facing the Avs in last year's playoffs?
Gino, I think it's really in their mentality, simply because they took that playoff loss so hard. The Avs really took them to the woodshed, just exposed them everywhere, all over the ice. And so the Jets, to a man, went into the offseason wanting to be that much better, more committed, tougher in their training, come back to training camp knowing that they had to compete harder. And that's something that Scott Arniel, since the moment he took over as head coach, really pushed and emphasized was compete level. And so they didn't make a lot of changes to their 5-on-5 structure. What you're seeing, though, is more conviction in that system. Players knowing that they have to double down on what they believe in, what they trust in that system, and execute it, and just compete a little bit harder everywhere, whether it means as far as blocking shots, winning 50-50 puck battles, just being more committed and tougher in all those little details in the game. So really what you're seeing is compete level, something that's more of a mentality to the club, and it's showing up in their results, Gino.
Yeah, the results are everything right now. And they're also really fun to watch. They're the highest scoring team in the NHL. What's the vibe like in that city right now surrounding this team and its success?
Oh, yeah, well, people are excited, Gino. Absolutely. It's the fact that their team is atop the NHL right now. But what I sense, though, in the fan base, though, is cautious optimism, simply because this time of year, hey, you know what? It's early. When the Jets really need to prove themselves is in mid to late April, because the last 2 years, we talked about it already, the Avs doing the 4-game sweep after the Jets won the first game of that series. Well, they did the same thing against Vegas the year before. Won the first game, lost the next 4. And so fans, it's sort of like putting their hand on the hot stove, right? You get burned, you're cautious about touching that. So they're really in sort of a show-me state right now. It's like all well and good that the team is doing well in October and November, but the fact of the matter is that the Jets are going to have to prove it to their fan base that their enthusiasm and excitement is well-founded once they get to April, May, or however far this team can go.
And right now they've got a real balance in their strength. Number 1 in offense, I mentioned that. They're also number 2 in goals against. Connor Hellebuyck allowed at least 5 goals in every game of the playoff series against the Avs last year. Now he's top 4 in goals against this year. You've spoken with Hellebuyck. Could this be a real opportunity for a statement game for him personally?
Well, not so much. With Hellebuyck, it's not so much a statement game tonight. It's more his mentality, Gino, is that we have to go back to the end of the season. He said something after the Jets were eliminated when they did their closing interviews with the media, that he said that he had to embrace more of a team concept, because he admitted to himself, came to that realization in the playoffs, that he was taking on too much responsibility onto his own shoulders, that he had to sort of release a little bit of that sense of responsibility and rely more on his teammates. And I think that we're starting to see that there's a little bit more freedom in Connor Hellebuyck's game, even though he sort of picked up where he left off from his second Vezina winning season, Like, he's been lights out, really. That the details in his game are really sharp. He looks like he's in mid-season form already. And so it's more of a statement season, I think, as opposed to just a single game. And really, the players that we talked to today, and Scott Arniel, they didn't consider this a revenge game. It's more that they admit that they have to take the lessons learned from what happened against Colorado, and Connor Hellebuyck is in that boat too. Learn the lessons from what happened back in April and move forward. Just be better, and ideally that scar tissue will serve them well when it gets to the most important time of the year.
As you mentioned, Hellebuyck's got 2 Vezins already. He can earn his 3rd and be the only active goalie to accomplish that feat. That would be amazing. As far as the Avs are concerned, Cale Makar, he extended his point streak to 13 games to start the season on Tuesday against the Kraken, but he also left early because of injury. Any update on him?
Yeah, Gino, it was a light morning skate today, but Makar was wearing royal blue along with the top 5 members of the power PP1 unit. So he was basically at the point where he normally would be, along with Nate McKinnon, Casey Middlestad, Mikko Rantanen, and Arturi Lehkonen. And so all indications on the ice were that he's trending towards playing, but Jared Bednar said game time decision, so we don't expect to see find out for certain whether Makar will be in the lineup until pregame warm-up. And he didn't speak to the media. Basically, we were told that if he does play, he'll talk tonight. So basically, it's a wait and see at this point, Gino. But the fact that he did take part in the morning skate was a positive sign for him after leaving the game on Tuesday with an undisclosed injury.
Makar's the only defenseman with more points than Josh Morrissey right now. What have you seen from Morrissey that's taken his game to the next level so far?
Just rounding out his game, Gino, both sides of the ice, defensively, offensively. He's becoming more physical. He is just so confident. I mean, his skating ability is just fantastic. His offensive abilities have just gotten better and better each season. And yeah, the defensive side of his game he's such a complete defenseman now. Like really, just an absolute elite defender. Somebody that's totally got to be in the conversation for the Four Nations tournament. And somebody he's a defenseman that's getting more and more confidence with the increased responsibility and the role that he's playing on the Jets, like as an alternate captain as well. And he'd go back 2 summers, like when Rick Bowness took over, and he challenged Morrissey to say that I want you to be in the conversation for the Norris Trophy. And he didn't quite make it. He hasn't been a nominee, but the fact of the matter is he's getting votes because around the league people are recognizing the fact that Josh Morrissey has just elevated his game to the point that he is an elite defender. And really what it is, like I said, that the fact that he is able to add a little bit of grit, a little bit of sandpaper to what he's already done, the offensive side to his game, is making him such a complete defender, Gino. And he's just an absolute special player. Joy to watch.
He's certainly taken it to the next level, as has done the entire team overall. John Lou from Winnipeg, where the Jets and Avs are coming up tonight on TSN 3 at 6:30 Central.